Hello everyone, Happy New Year! So, 2026 is here. Something feels off. For the first time in a long while, people who normally never agree on things, scientists and psychics, are all pointing in the same direction. An ominous year, carrying great risks of mega earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, and extreme solar storms. That convergence alone is alarming. On December 20th, 2025, geophysicist Stefan Burns issued a warning on YouTube. Signs from the Earth, Sun, and planets suggest something big is coming. Scientists are starting to feel uneasy, not because of one signal, but because of many all lining up at once. Deep beneath Japan, earthquake activity has once again begun behaving strangely. This is a region no stranger to massive ruptures, the kind that can reach magnitude 9 or higher. And recent patterns suggest that stress may be quietly rebuilding in the same places where it has broken before. At the same time, something else is unfolding far above our heads. For months, the sun hasn't been calm. Large coronal holes on the sun have been sending steady waves of charged energy toward Earth. Not a single dramatic blast, but a constant push. The kind that subtly loads the planet in ways scientists are only beginning to understand. In early January 2026, a rare planetary alignment is expected to coincide with a period of heightened space weather, conditions that again and again in history seems to show up around major seismic events. So the question becomes unavoidable. Is this coincidence or is calamity quietly gathering momentum? Well, none of this means disaster is guaranteed. Nature doesn't follow calendars. But when signals from the ground below, the sun above, and the planets begin to echo each other, scientists grow uneasy. And here's where it gets interesting. Because those same whispers have been heard elsewhere, long before scientific data caught up. The concerns of geophysicists mirror what psychics and seers have been warning for years. Early in 2025, Thai prophet known as Mo Pra publicly predicted that a global-scale catastrophe would erupt in places known for eating sushi, Japan and surrounding regions. She described the ocean floor as if a ring of underwater volcanoes had been sleeping for a very long time. First, one or two smaller volcanoes would awaken, then others would follow in a chain reaction. And from that sequence, a massive tsunami would be born. Around the same time, British psychic Craig Hamilton Parker, during his global predictions, said he saw a huge black mushroom-shaped cloud rising over the waters off Japan's coast. To him, that dark cloud symbolized an unmistakable omen, something deeply unsettling about to unfold. Then there's Japanese manga artist Ryo Tazuki. In the complete edition of The Future I Saw, she described a terrifying scene, a dull, muffled explosion beneath the sea, followed by a colossal tsunami, waves surging over 100 meters high, roughly 3 times the height of the 2011 East Japan earthquake tsunami. According to her vision, the tsunami would devastate multiple countries and even trigger dramatic shifts in the Earth's tectonic plates. Then comes a voice from the scientific world. In Canada, earthquake researcher Brent Dimitruk has spent years building data-driven models based on plate boundary movement, cycles of tectonic energy buildup, and the amplifying effects of solar and geomagnetic disturbances on the Earth's crust. After years of rigorous analysis, he reached a startling conclusion. He believes the world may face what he calls a global seismic chain reaction, not a single earthquake in one place, but a cascading event involving interconnected volcanic eruptions and large-scale tectonic ruptures across oceans. Seeing from this angle, something unsettling begins to take shape. Looking across these predictions, both scientific and metaphysical, one pattern stands out. Each disaster appears local at first, yet they all share a single critical threat. They begin in the Pacific. From there, the shock waves spread outward in a chain of events affecting the entire world. From the spiritual realm to the scientific community, vastly different voices seem to be pointing toward the same possibility, a superscale global disruption centered on the Pacific Basin in 2026. But there's another question we don't often ask. What does a world on the edge actually look like? Throughout history, moments of upheaval have often surfaced first as visions shaped by belief, culture, and faith. And in recent months, one of the most vivid visions has come from an American pastor named Brandon Biggs, who became famous for his vision that later echoed the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. On November 20th, 2025, Biggs said he found himself looking toward a stretch of ocean in the east. A cold wind swept across the water. The sky hung low and dark. From the way he described it, this didn't feel distant or symbolic. It felt as though he were standing there, watching it unfold in real time. He stood quietly, staring at the surface of the sea. Then the eastern sky began to glow, not with lightning, not with the rising sun, but with something unfamiliar. From the water, 4 enormous figures began to rise. He said they were angels, vast in scale, yet nothing like the images people are used to. Their forms were made entirely of countless fine strands of rain, dense, driving sheets of water, fierce and unrelenting. From their bodies, massive waterfalls poured downward, crashing with overwhelming force. Biggs said he could not see their faces. The 4 figures stood upon the surface of the sea, like mountains formed from storm and rain, radiating an authority that felt impossible to resist. Then one of them lifted a massive hand, a hand made of rain, and raised a long golden trumpet. The moment the trumpet sounded, Biggs said the entire earth began to tremble. The shaking surged from the ocean floor to the continents, spreading from the low latitudes all the way to the north and south poles. He said the oceans of the world changed color, turning into a thick reddish-brown sludge. Dead fish gathered in piles across the surface of the water, releasing a suffocating stench. Soon after, he saw people on nearby islands suffering skin lesions, vomiting uncontrollably. When he lifted his head, he was stunned. From somewhere in the Pacific, huge columns of black smoke were rising into the sky. Volcanoes were erupting violently. Thick ash spread so quickly that it blotted out the sun. At first, one place came to his mind, Hawaii. But then he realized it wasn't a single volcano. It was all of them. Across the earth, volcanoes seemed to awaken at once. Lava bursting freely, the crust shaking, eruptions tearing through the surface. And after that, he said, there was only one thing left. The ocean rose, a tsunami. Once again, the vision returned to the same place. Earthquakes, volcanoes, and a rising sea, all centered on the Pacific. But why are they all pointing to 2026? In Chinese metaphysical belief systems, 2026 and 2027 are known as Can hexagram years. Among the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching, Can is considered one of the most dangerous. Can represents water, but not a calm river, nor a gentle stream. It symbolizes a bottomless abyss, hidden currents, deep water that looks still on the surface, yet can suddenly pull everything under. Traditionally, Can is associated with floods, epidemics, covert power struggles, instability, great power collisions, and sudden political upheaval. In these traditions, real danger emerges when Can energy aligns with major national destiny cycles. According to this framework, that alignment is happening right now. That's why people in Chinese metaphysical circles often say, if you don't understand 2026, you don't understand the decade's reckoning. Interestingly, Western astrology arrives at a strikingly similar conclusion through an entirely different system. In astrology, 2026 is widely seen as the threshold year for a civilizational reshuffle. 3 outer planets, often called civilization-level planets, will change signs almost simultaneously. Pluto into Aquarius, Neptune into Aries, and Uranus into Gemini. They move slowly, but when they shift, they tend to reshape social order, technology, and ideology. Astrologers summarize it simply: 3 great shifts in 2026, the world is stirred. And this convergence doesn't stop there. A third civilizational system points to the same pattern in the same year. At just 19 years old, Indian prodigy Abhigya Anand has gained a reputation as the youngest spiritual prophet of his generation. He has been credited with accurately foreseeing events such as the COVID pandemic, the Russia-Ukraine war, the Israel-Palestine conflict, and a major earthquake in Myanmar. Using Vedic astrology, Anand identifies 2026 as the year of a great civilizational turning point. He warns that the great dragon beneath the Pacific tectonic plate will awaken, pushing the ring of fire into heightened activity. He also predicts unusually strong solar unrest, accelerating polar ice melt and triggering cycles of floods, droughts, storms, and extreme weather. To him, these are signs of a planet thrown out of balance, the anger of Mother Earth provoked by human greed. Yet Anand's message is not purely one of doom. He describes 2026 as both an ending and a beginning, the final chapter of decline, and the overture to a golden age. He believes catastrophe can become a catalyst for awakening, forcing humanity to return to nature, heal inwardly, and rethink the path it has taken. This crisis awakening idea appears across cultures, from Buddhism's Age of Dharma ending to Christianity's apocalyptic visions that promise renewal. And in Chinese yin-yang philosophy, crisis and opportunity are 2 sides of the same coin. Where there is great disaster, there's also the possibility of profound renewal. When everything breaks, people stop fighting and start help each other. When systems and tools fail, people return to traditional way of life. When technology and the internet is lost, humanity finds itself again. When bad actors are stripped away, moral conscience regains its voice. Perhaps the so-called 2026 civilizational reshuffle is not destruction, but cleansing, not an end, but a new beginning, a chance to renew the earth and return human civilization to something more balanced, more humane, and more benign. History shows us that in humanity's darkest moments, the human spirit tends to shine the brightest. During calamities, people stop fighting. Political divisions fade. Strangers share food. Neighbors help one another. Crisis, paradoxically, has a way of reuniting us. In the face of calamity, human spirit grows only stronger. In the shadow of death, people rediscover the meaning of life and embrace the divine. Be alert, be grounded, and be the best version of ourselves, because in moments of uncertainty, who we are becomes our strongest shelter. And in times like these, that may be the best preparation of all. Okay, that's all for today. Here's my early video on 2026 prediction from a geopolitical perspective. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.